to climb into the mid-90s today, and clouds will hang around, and we'll see a little bit of sunshine here and there, but expect a partly to mostly cloudy day. Now, as we head into the afternoon hours, scattered showers and thunderstorms are likely for many spots, and we may see a few downpours through today, so watch out for that. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms are expected to linger, with overnight temperatures falling into the lower 80s.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan, with your complete forecast coming up. As emotions remain high on both sides of the abortion debate following the overturning of the Roe v. Wade decision at the U.S. Supreme Court, WWL TV's Dennis Woltering reports someone vandalized a display on the West Bank of New Orleans.
A statue at a Catholic church in Algiers was recently vandalized with red paint. It happened at Holy Name of Mary Church to a statue of the Virgin Mary. Next to the statue is a tomb for the unborn. We do not know if this vandalism is directly tied to the banning of nearly all abortions in Louisiana. New Orleans police are investigating.
The red paint, apparently supposed to look like blood, was washed off of the statue and memorial. There have also been some protest rallies locally and celebrations as Louisiana now outlaws nearly all abortions, and all of the abortion clinics in the state have closed their doors. More violent crime in the city amid a surge in shootings, murders, carjackings, and armed robberies. The NOPD is investigating gunfire in the St. Roch neighborhood. The 1700 block of Painter Street was the site of a man suffering a gunshot wound to his body. EMS transported the victim to the hospital shortly after midnight. Lafourche Parish Sheriff Craig Weber and Thibodaux Police Chief Brian Zerang say they have arrested a man who was stealing mail in the Thibodaux area. Alan Oubre now faces charges. Security camera footage showed a man cops say is the 36-year-old Oubre riding a bicycle and carrying a backpack near the scene of the incidents. Police identified the man as Oubre and say they found stolen mail at his home. They say Oubre admitted to going into several mailboxes looking for items to steal. He was charged with 30 counts of theft or attempted theft. Here's Sean Ross with WWL Sports.
Saints running back Alvin Kamara is expected to be suspended for 6 games for his role in a fight during Pro Bowl weekend in Las Vegas. WWL college and pro football analyst Mike Detillier says the Saints need to upgrade their running back room soon.
They're going to bring in another veteran running back, either as a free agent signing or via a trade. One of the two. They're not going to keep what you got on the roster. You got to upgrade it. It has to be upgraded.
Kamara's court hearing is scheduled for August 1st. And Ole Miss is just one win away from the College World Series. The Rebels took Game 1 over Oklahoma last night 10-3, including back-to-back-to-back jacks in the 8th. An SEC team has won the College World Series
3 out of the last 4 years.
Sean Ross,
WWL Sports.
Andrew Garcia broadcast on WWL.
Daytime highs are still expected to climb into the 90s, but will be in the lower 90s today. And of course, the humidity feeling much warmer than that. A system is going to develop out to our east, and that is going to bring the well-needed rain to our area as we head through the afternoon hours. And a few thunderstorms are possible, and they may get quite strong. So continue to remain weather aware through today. And also tonight, showers and thunderstorms are likely. As we head into Monday, mostly cloudy skies, temperatures climbing into the lower 90s, and scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL meteorologist.
And I'm Dave Cohen, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news talk sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oaklar Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, good morning, Albert Nicaud. You always get
Good morning, Albert.
Good morning, Albert.
Hey, Doug, what's up?
Oh, nothing much.
I guess we'll talk about it later. We'll talk a little sports, but if you were a lawyer and you were watching all this, if you
I'm speaking, I guess, in a way that yes. It was very interesting to watch a lot of the coverage of Friday and the decisions of the Supreme Court and the abject ignorance of civics and the function of the Constitution was in full display by, culture, what do you call them? Influences, cultural influences, uh, news people, a lot of politicians about what was the function of the decision, why it was made, and the emotion of it overshadowed what was really the function of the Constitution, and what was the basis of the decision with the Roe Dobbs and the Roe versus Wade, and just very interesting how I think the fact that civics is not taught in our school system now, or it's not taught properly. The relationship between the legislative branch and the judicial branch and executive branch and their interplay causes a lot of what I would call misinformation by many of the media outlets that rail against alleged misinformation. But I was watching all that and I was like very disappointed that as to the ignorance. That's the only way I could say. And I'm saying not ignorance, without knowledge of, what was the function, what actually happened in this decision. I guess we'll talk about it now. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like what was the result of the decision? And so it's clear that whatever is enumerated in the Constitution is left to the states. This is a democratic republic, and so there are states' rights that prime the federal government. And again, unless there is a constitutional amendment where the Constitution is amended to enumerate certain rights, then the states decide whether you want to allow an abortion and to what degree and to what month and all those sorts of things. And that's how it's written. And so I think what happened was these justices looked at the law and looked at the Constitution and said, we're not banning abortion. We're not banning abortion. We're going to leave it up to the states because the rights of individuals are enumerated in the Constitution. Now, those rights over the years have been extended to privacy. There's no right of privacy in this Constitution. Now, so it's up to the Supreme Court then to interpret what rights extend beyond, like an illegal search and seizure, that sort of thing. But beyond that, it's a simpler answer, and the answer is the states will decide. And it's funny that he see all of this destruction and everything else going on in states where they've got the most liberal abortion laws in the country. In California, New York, Illinois, those people won't be affected. But over the past probably 40 years, the federal government has gotten so much more, maybe 50 years, so much more powerful, and is dictating to all of the states what policy should be to the big issues, like abortion and gun control and things like that, all the way down to minor small issues that they're telling the states and its citizens what they should do. When this was all founded way back in when, states like Tennessee and Louisiana and these types of states would never have joined it. They would have never been part of the United States had there not been some protection for allowing those people within certain states to live the way they want to live. And so, this ruling is much more in line with and much more in conjunction with the framers' intent and actually how the Constitution is read, without it being stretched. And so, right or wrong, right? I mean, listen, they've stretched it to where, pornography is art, and so it is what it is. And so you just live and die by what the Supreme Court says. When somebody like Maxine Waters says we're going to defy the Supreme Court and do whatever we want, then you have a breakdown in society, right? That all of a sudden all the rules and laws and everything else that have been in place for hundreds of years are thrown out the window, and you end up with a country that looks like a South American country or an African country or some third world country. And so we just, hey, look, there have been a lot of decisions the Supreme Court's made that I don't agree with. But you know what? It's the system. It's how we work. And if you don't like it, grab enough senators and have them, amend the Constitution. Because if that's the will of really that many people, then that's how it should be.
Well, I think in explaining this, and this on several levels, we're giving an analysis. I'm not giving an analysis as far as our personal beliefs, which if you listen to the show, you probably know what our personal beliefs are, but this is not an analysis based on personal beliefs. The analysis is on the basis that when James Madison and the fathers of the Constitution sat down and they enumerated these rights, a right to freedom of the press, right freedom of religion, a right to peacefully assemble, a right to an abortion wasn't in the mix. It wasn't referenced in any of the writings. It wasn't referenced in any of the ancillary, secondary materials. I would dare say it was not even brought up. And so therefore, if that wasn't part of the intent of these immutable rights that cannot be legislatively abolished, then it goes back to the legislative process. And you have democracy in place, and then then you can debate that. The Congress can make a law that makes abortion legal in the entire United States. It can make a law that that abolishes abortion for the United States, and same with the state legislatures. So you have democracy in action. Now, one thing that will happen is, since in the last 50 years, since it was, quote, a constitutionally protected federal right, which it turned out to be no, just much like slavery was affirmed by the Supreme Court, no. And there's a lot of precedent that, bad law that was even eventually overturned. But when you get down to it now, you can have a debate about it. Because when we had a debate about it before, it was muted because one side would say it's a federal right. We don't need to debate. But now I think we need to have this debate as a country, and we have to have a discussion of it, and without having being muted because it's an alleged federal right. I'm looking forward to the debate, and I'm looking forward to what both sides have to say and how that shakes out in our society and the state legislature as well. In Louisiana, it's pretty much that.
So you recall we were in law school, and we had a very liberal professor, Vitello.
We had all liberal professors.
Well, we had, remember, Professor Vitello was very liberal, and Professor Udo was very conservative.
Right.
And so they offered to debate each other on the Roe versus Wade and just in general the abortion issue. But what Professor Udo said was, I'll do it if we take the opposite sides. I will then promote the abortion rights activist position, and you promote the anti-abortion activist position. And Vitello wouldn't do it. He said, "No, I'm not going to do it. I can't do that." But I remember Udo's position was, or his reasoning, I guess, for wanting to do that was to show us as lawyers that you have a client that comes into your office, and you have, and they want you to assert a particular position that, and you have a duty to give them zealous representation of their position, whether he's a criminal defendant, whether it's a position you may not agree with, but if it is in fact sanctioned by law, then you have a duty to give that person that zealous representation of that position. Now, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you can always decline the representation, but which Vitello did.
Well, one of the things before we take a break, and before we move on, I wanted a lot of the, I guess, younger, sort of blue-haired, young people, probably, eating avocados and, just come from a
I
different
love
place.
avocados, by the way, but go ahead.
I love them too, but but basically, just because something they view is good doesn't mean it is a civil right. Education is good, but it's not protected by the Constitution. Driving a car may be good, but it is not a federally protected constitutional right. So it's just, I think the entitled misconception of part of our culture right now is because it's good, it should be a federally protected right. And that's where I think the lack of education, lack of civics, especially in the school system where they're teaching everything but reading, writing, correct U.S. history. They're teaching you a lot of other things that aren't going to help you get a job. Just mess up your head for about 10 to 15 years socially. But it's just because something is good and you want it. It is not a federal civil right. And that's just hard for some of our culture to wrap their mind around. And that was sort of on display on Fraud Day. And you always see fringes on both sides that are a little nutty, but the underlying principle was this is something good. This is what quote healthcare, which it's not. It's not healthcare, but so it should be protected by the Constitution, and that's just not the way it works. It's subject to the democratic process in the legislature, and if I think it was taught better and it was not perverted by media outlets, wasn't perverted by politicians, wasn't perverted by cultural influences such as I'm hearing Hollywood people who have zero education trying to lecture about the decision. People wouldn't be so misinformed or subject to manipulation by misinformation. And so that's, that was sort of on display. And we'll get off that subject and we'll go on. I want to talk a little bit about the Pelicans draft. Going from that to the Pelicans draft. Real quick. Just a natural transition.
There you go.
We'll be right back on All Things Legal right after this brief time out.
WWL wants to send you on a rock and roll 4th of July weekend. Win tickets to see Poison in concert, plus a 2-day stay at the world-class Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. You'll also get $250 in play money for the casino, a $100 gas gift card for your road trip, and dinner for two at the award-winning steakhouse, Philip M's. Register now at WWL.com. It'll be nothing but a good time with Poison from Pearl River Resort and WWL.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all areas. Actual Pie customer.
Workers' comp can crush a small business. Every year it would jump 5, 10, 15, 20%, even though there's never any claims. And that's where I was struggling as a growing business.
That's Mike Lozier, owner of Gutter Plumber, a small business in New Jersey. A while back,
Okay, the last part of the set is going to be
luckily, he discovered
timeshare
From start to finish,
spot,
it was
and
extremely
then we'll go
easy.
live.
They quickly came back to me with a land that was affordable for me.
Are you overpaying for workers' comp? Just go to trypie.com, share a few details about your business, and you could save up to 30% with no hassle or hidden fees. Like Mike, we think you'll be glad you did.
I'm very happy that I moved over to Pi for my workers' comp so that I can grow my company while not breaking the bank.
Find out how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Ask your agent or get a quote at trypi.com. That's TRYPIE.com.
Is your Hurricane Ida insurance company still playing games with you or giving you the runaround? Are you still dealing with multiple adjusters, unreturned phone calls, duplicate requests for information, and chronic underpayment, even non-payment? Are you emotionally exhausted? We can help. Call me, Doug Sunseri, longtime WWL radio host, attorney at Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm in Metairie and Mandeville at 504-837-1304. After so many years of you paying insurance premiums, we'll make sure your insurance company pays up.
Looking for the perfect gift of jewelry that will always remind her of you? May we suggest a piece of breathtaking jewelry from Oakland Heart? We offer a huge selection of fine Swiss timepieces, as well as all the latest collections from David Yurman, Penny Prevost, Mikimoto Pearls, and Marco Bichigo. Or how about an exclusive Oakland Heart design from our award-winning master craftsman? Take her breath away. Have her singing "There's a Great Work of Art in Every Box from Oakland Heart" on Metairie Road.
WWL wants to send you on a rock and roll 4th of July weekend. Win tickets to see Poison in concert, plus a 2-day stay at the world-class Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. You'll also get $250 in play money for the casino, a $100 gas gift card for your road trip, and dinner for two at the award-winning steakhouse, Philip M's. Register now at WWL.com. It'll be nothing but a good time with Poison from Pearl River Resort and WWL.
What is it that makes people do the things they do? To be back on the bayou, once our neurosurgeons put Landon's brain seizures behind him. After our pediatric surgery superheroes fixed Quentin's heart and made it even stronger. And once our oncology team helped Sylvia beat breast cancer. Whatever your reasons are for doing the things you do, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Health. Long live you. Learn more at ochsner.org/longliveyou.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I'm still mad at timeshare companies. For over a decade, I've been fighting to clean up the timeshare industry by getting folks out of bad timeshares. But after all those battles, I'm still asking, how do they sell timeshares for $25,000 when they're available online for only $1? Here's how they do it. They lie. They tell you things like, timeshares are great investment. You can go anywhere at any time, or your maintenance fees will never go up. Everything they do to get you to sign a timeshare agreement is part of a well-planned trap. If you've ever been held hostage in a timeshare presentation and bought, Wesley Financial Group is here to help. To date, we've canceled timeshares for over 30,000 families. And I guarantee you this, we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare cancellation guide. 800-660-1771. That's 800-660-1771. 800-660-1771. All things legal at WWL.AM/FM.com and the Odyssey app. Connect with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talking Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, all things legal. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the Pelicans. At this time last year, our roster was basically depleted. There was talk about whether the Pelicans would be viable in New Orleans. Zion was already talking about going to the Knicks or somewhere else. I mean, it was just in a state of disarray. And 1 year later, we're a franchise that didn't have any immediate needs for the draft. In other words, there was no get this type of player. The liability of Pelicans in New Orleans is not a question. And that we're being discussed as a team rise in the conference finals, much like the Boston Celtics or Phoenix Suns in the last couple of years. What the difference is just in general, as far as the
No, I agree. I just the magic of what the Pelicans coach is going to do with his team going to depend on how he can put Zion back into the starting lineup and make it all gel. And just, look, he's a great player. He's obviously, a star. He's certainly a starter. But how do you plug him back in when the team was pretty cohesive and needed a support player here or there, right? And now all of a sudden we're going to try to plug a superstar into that mix. I think if he can do that, he's coach of the year, right? In terms of the draft selections, I think this Davis kid, Dyson Davis, I don't know a whole lot about him. I'm not a big
first-party insurance
I'm not a
claims.
big fan, I guess, of the elite players. I guess he's an elite player, but it's just too high of a first-round draft. I know he was on everybody's board. I would have loved to have gotten a sharp kid from Kentucky that went the pick right before him. He's a man among boys. That kid's going to be unbelievable if he can keep his head in the game. But it is what it is. I don't know what else. I'm again just trying to think basketball and think strategy and think whatever. I'm not sure. Where's Zion going to play? Right, he's a power forward, obviously. But then you've got Valanciunas, you've got 2 or 3 centers that play the 5 position. I don't know. I just
he can like Adams could not play on the perimeter. Valanciunas can to a certain extent. I mean, he has a little point shot. Yeah, I think Dyson Daniels they think he has a higher ceiling than the prior pick. He's a great defensive player. They said he can drive to the basket. The jump shot's the concern with him, whether he can develop a jump shot or not. Which
and it's a common theme. Yeah. But it's a common theme that the team is picking defensive players, right? So when you look at two great defensive players that were rookies that they just picked up last year, and they were, I think he's starting with defense because he knows he's got scorers. He knows he's got some guys that can play. I think the team is still missing that, and I know this is kind of crazy, but they're missing that pure 3-point shooter. Yeah. Because look, Zion is going to get a ton of attention in the middle. If he gets the ball in the middle, he's going to get triple teamed. You got to kick it out, and somebody's got to make that shot.
And that's Troy Murphy. They'll see if Troy Murphy's going.
Trey Murphy. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully he's the guy, right? So we'll see. I mean, it's a good problem to have, right? We've got too many guys that can play that we're trying to fit into the game plan. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
And before we go to Pierre, as we transition from the Pelicans to Hurricane Ida claims. Also, the Pelicans picked E.J. Liddell, who's in the 41st pick, who was supposed to be a mid-round pick, and he's like more of a finished product, and they think he can come in and contribute a little bit also. So we'll see. Let's go to phone lines. Yeah. They're going to see him play overseas, I think. That was the plan. Okay. Yeah. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Pierre. I've got a question regarding first-party insurance. Hey, Pierre, you know all things legal. How can you help you?
Good morning. Can I say first one little thing about Jackson versus God?
Yes.
I think you're puzzled a little bit about why people think certain things should be covered by the Constitution because they're good or because they're comfortable rights. I think it's that people are unaccustomed to the fact that the 10th Amendment puts power in the states. The power lies with the states, not with the federal government. And so we've become used to the federal government handing out these rights. At least that's the perception.
Well, you bring up a good point, because part of the beauty of the Constitution was they have a different value system in California than we do in Louisiana. There's a different value system in the Midwest. And what purpose of local and state government is to be able to have the flexibility to have a society adopting some of those values, so that people who have those values would migrate to those states, and the people who have California values will go to California, because it's just that's how you can be different but together. And I think now, maybe because you have national media, maybe you have federalism has gotten so strong that what sometimes is happening is you might have East Coast, West Coast values in Washington being pushed on Louisiana values, or Midwest values, or Texas values, and that's where you have a lot of this cultural wars coming about, because
And I think with this court, we're going to see that change case by case.
Sure, and I think like Albert pointed out earlier, a lot of states would have never entered into the union to begin with. They would have had to take on the federal values of the Northeast, or the values of Washington D.C. or the Capitol, because it's just we are different parts of the country have different things that are important to them.
And there's been
every.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
We're going to need a break soon.
Every federal, state, and local politician now not hide behind the Supreme Court decision and make a commitment, state his position one way or the other. That's what they're going to have to do. And that's why they've been very uncomfortable doing that. They just throw up their hands and say, well, the Supreme Court made this decision. It's not within our power to decide for this state what our abortion rules are. Now it is.
Right. Well,
Right.
I think
I think it's democracy in action.
That's democracy is not always free. Like one thing you pointed out is very, very important. Democracy is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to advocate for your position. It is uncomfortable to hear the other party's position and still be respectful. One of the issues that we're dealing with now, which was on full display on Friday, was that we're at a point where if we feel uncomfortable as a society about an opposing position, we have to cancel them. We have to demonize them. We have to tell them that they are bad people because they have a different viewpoint from us. And that's where we sort of evolved in this society. But we need that discomfort. We need that discomfort in order to function as a society and to walk through it, rather than demonize the other side. So, Pierre, that's a good point. Pierre, can you hold on? We got to go to a break, and we'll take your question regarding the insurance company right on the other side of the break. But that was very good comments, Pierre, on Dobbs, and thank you for it. And we'll talk to you about your hurt on the other side. That's Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyer. We'll be right back.
A normal summer.
Probably hitting the lake. My son's playing baseball down in Florida. Do a little fishing, maybe. I'm in a tree somewhere.
Hopefully, I can get some time to go down to the beach.
We can expect normal summer weather too. We're preparing for the worst conditions.
High winds are likely to bring down more limbs or entire trees.
Dangerous fire weather, and
stay off the beaches when the storm comes.
Make sure your plans include checking in for the latest on WWL, the news.
Okay, we got a short one after Big Lou.
A loved one are suffering from addiction. Listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder.
And we'll go live.
Mediae.
I love to see the metamorphosis. There's so many of those lovely affirmations that we get from the people that we've treated that make it worth going through all the times when there's skeptics that say, well, that's got to be baloney. But that's okay, because we get to see the miracle. I do have a strong belief that no one comes here by accident, and everybody has their own little story of how they get here. And that if they will trust just enough to let us get at least 4 or 5 days of the IV into their system, their life will change dramatically for the better.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center, 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
504-291-4000. 291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center.
Here's to the lucky few who managed to find their soulmates. That one person who listens, understands, and laughs at your jokes, even the bad ones. That person who deserves nothing less than the best. An award-winning engagement ring from the master craftsman at Oakland Hart Jewelers. The Oakland Hart family is passionate about offering a vast selection of diamond engagement rings in all the most popular styles. No matter what your price range, we have the best for less. We're constantly searching the world diamond markets for the most beautiful diamonds you'll ever see. We buy direct, always getting the lowest possible prices. Plus, we offer interest-free financing. Listen to what Brad from Covington said in his online review. Selecting a diamond can be overwhelming. Oakland Hart went above and beyond to make this an easy process. The ring is absolutely beautiful. My fiance couldn't be happier. See? Brad knew that before he got down on one knee, he needed to get down to Oakland Hart Jewelers on Metairie Road. Why? Because there's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Hart.
The Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation is celebrating 100 years as the voice of Louisiana agriculture, working with leadership to ensure a safe and abundant supply of food, fiber, and fuel. Become a Louisiana Farm Bureau member today at lafarmbureau.org.
Louisiana is unique. The food, the festivals, even the bugs. Pests in Louisiana are as unique as our state, and you need experience to keep the pests away. Termites are responsible for more than $1 billion of damage in Louisiana alone. J&J Exterminating has over 55 years experience in keeping your home safe. Trust J&J Exterminating to shield your home, business, and property 365 days a year with 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things. Buy a world-class German blade for the kitchen. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 8888 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 8888. Enjoy.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life, call 800-859-3220.
We're all on this planet. Here we go. So join Odyssey and find your one thing. Cut up 6-pack rings and reduce your use of plastic to help keep it out of our waterways and oceans. Join Odyssey, and together each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinion shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Sunseri at WWL. Hey, we're back. That's Jerry
Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, All Things Legal. Here, we've got comments regarding first party insurance claim. Pierre.
I had never run across this problem before. I'm changing insurance companies. I had made a Hurricane Ida claim on my home. The new insurance company says it needs to see that claim is closed. Well, I'm not familiar with how to close the claim. I thought that the claim died when the 2-year period runs out and the lawsuit is filed. And I've asked the agent, all right, is there a form? How do you want me to close this claim? And he doesn't know the answer to the question. So he's asking the insurance company, but he doesn't seem to get an answer. Have you ever heard of closing a first-party claim?
Yeah, I've heard this happening. It's an underwriting issue, and the thing is, I think that unless it's clean and pure and 10 feet above sea level, and they don't want to write it, and they don't want to renew it, and so they're coming up with any reason in the world not to renew it. And they're putting the homeowners in the trick bag, and I think your best avenue.
I have Robert from Alabama, and he's talking about
Department of Insurance. Go talk to Jim Dollar's office. And tell them what's going on. File a complaint, and say, look, do they have the right as an underwriter to make me finalize my claim? My claim is still pending. Now, this is a new insurer. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, not the one you had before. Because they're putting you in a trick bag, right? But the old insurer, some of them, I'm hearing the same thing from the old insurer. Hey, look, you didn't fix your house, therefore we're not going to renew your coverage. So, I mean, that's crazy. I didn't fix my house because you didn't pay me.
Well, there are two problems I run into. One is I don't even know the formula, the format or procedure for actually closing a claim. But the other thing is, I suppose what I should do is write them a letter and say I'm closing my claim, but can't I simply turn around and reopen it later?
Yes.
I've got 2 years.
Right.
Right.
Well, what they're doing, I'm getting a lot of letters saying this will confirm your claim is closed. Now, I think one of the functions it has to do with reserves. In other words, they can take it off the books and they don't have to keep reserves for it as far as their accounting is concerned. Now, I'm sort of smart alecky when they do that. I'm like, I don't care what you call it. You can say you close it or not. If we define more damage, we're going to file a supplement. So do what you want with it. But I think they do it administratively, saying now.
They do that because they have an open claims count. Right? Well, I haven't heard back from somebody in 30 days, whatever their limit is. And then the adjuster can then move that file out of their active claims into a closed status. And like you said, Peter, you can always reopen it prior to the prescription date, 2 years. So.
This is the other thing that puzzles me. Why would company number 2 be concerned that I have a claim against company number 1?
Well, I think what the concern is if you have theoretically an open claim and you still have damages that haven't been addressed, it becomes the insurance companies may not want to take on, if there's another event, trying to figure out what was the pre-existing damages and what's the new damages, if they were not addressed for Hurricane Ida. So I think that's one of the issues they have is, if you have, saturated sheetrock and you have some floors that buckling that have never been fixed, and then you have another event, how do you determine the additional buckling? Is that a new claim or the old claim? Did the walls need to come out before, or was it something that was a new event? So part of it is
more common what we're seeing is, I need a whole new roof. No, you don't. You only need 10 shingles. That's all that's missing. I need a new roof. Well, all of a sudden, you put 10 shingles on, and your adjuster was right. The homeowner's adjuster was right. You do need a new roof, and it's compromised, and it's going to blow off. With a 80 mile an hour, or 60 mile an hour wind. And now they're insuring this risk. It has a lot of potential issues. So they want to make sure the claim is closed, it's paid, it's resolved. You've then, maybe even gotten your recoverable depreciation because you fixed everything that was listed on the claim summary. And now, we'll go ahead and write you. But I think that they're going to pick and choose. They want only the best risks, and they're coming up with any reason why they shouldn't write policy.
Now, one thing I want to tell you, Pierre, also is that on some of these cases we're settling, and the insurance company's been with the insured for more than 3 years. There's one company that's requiring as part of the settlement that they will not be insured by that particular insurance company in the future. In other words, that they've given up that right, which indicates to me that they're stuck with some of these policies they've been insuring for more than 3 years, and they want to get out of them. And so they're using a lot of these settlements to get that particular, provision in the settlement. And so I actually, we held out a little longer to figure out how much it was worth it to them to put that in that provision. And so I think, as Albert said, is they're running for cover for now until I guess they get a better, maybe replenish some of their premiums, because a lot of them feel like they can't take another hit in South Louisiana.
Yeah, I'm still puzzled by why Company 2 cares about Company 1, and if I have a claim and I pursue it in court, I'm going after 1, not 2. But I do appreciate the comment.
All right.
Thank you, Peter.
Thanks for the call. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. All things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
WWL is proudly sponsored by Dudley DeBosier Injury Lawyers. Call 504-444-4444. Non-attorney spokesperson, Chad Dudley, New Orleans.
At Community Coffee, we didn't set out just to make great coffee. We set out to make something that would bring out the best in people, morning, noon, and night. And who wouldn't want to share a cup of that? Community Coffee. Find us at your local grocery or visit us at communitycoffee.com.
Relief Windows. Experience, quality, and service. ReliefWindows.com.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, your waiting should never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell, and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
Okay, I have Robert on the line from Alabama, also, and Ida Clint.
Brown sugar, chunks of chocolate made for cooking, and tasty chocolate chip cookie dough pieces. Cookie two-step has everybody's taste buds two-stepping, and one end.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell Ice Cream at all Target stores and Rotolo Martin Supermarket in Harvey.
In 1970, a 28-year-old recent law school graduate.
You got a community tax service commercial as the last one of the sets that will go live.
Host of the new podcast.
It is Robert from Alabama with an Ida claim.
From the FBI. At war with the U.S. government. Mother Country Radicals. Family history of the Weather Underground. New episodes are released every Thursday, wherever you get your podcast. You can listen.
Looks like about 5 minutes till the top of the hour news.
The most exciting jewelry buying opportunity is happening right now at Diamonds Direct. Pick any jewelry piece, pay nothing down, and get 5 years, zero-interest financing. Imagine that $4,000 eternity band for only $67 a month, or that $8,000 engagement ring, just $135 a month. You can finance 100% of the purchase price, even the tax. Don't miss this limited time opportunity for the lowest payments ever on fine jewelry. But hurry, this offer ends June 30th. Get details, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Are you a business owner doing your own bookkeeping? Why? It makes no sense, literally. Focus on what you do well, like growing your business, and let Accounting Services Unlimited handle your bookkeeping. Hi, this is Thomas Pontes. Accounting Services Unlimited is insanely affordable and will come to you. For a free quote, Accounting Services Unlimited, 504-717-6253. That's 717-6253. Or visit us at asu-llc.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, you need to take advantage of the special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-256-4180. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-256-4180 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-256-4180 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-256-4180.
All things legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud on WWL and Odyssey Station. Connect now on the Oakland Hart Jewelers Talk and Text line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, lawyer. Let's go to Robert. Robert's got
Robert's got all things legal.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I have a family member that lives in New Orleans. They filed a claim for roof and some other damage. Had already received a check, and they were just now getting around to getting estimates on the roof, getting the roof replaced. She talked to a representative at a roofing company, and they asked her if she could send the declaration page for insurance company. I don't know. 2 hours later, she gets a call back and said, hey, I have a claim number for you. So this person with the roofing company called her insurance company and somehow set up a claim. Now, she'd already been paid for this, and I guess I didn't tell this person that, but I don't know what that was paid. And the claim is filed under her wind and hail, not item. So I guess my question is, how can somebody from the roofing company call your insurance company and set a claim up? And is that even legal?
Well, did she sign any paperwork with this person? In other words, did she sign up, because a lot of times what will happen is with these roofing companies, they'll say, look, sign this document, give us authority to talk to your insurance company, give us your insurance company's information, and we will handle the roofing claim for you and explain to the adjuster why you need a new roof, and we'll work the claim for you, because they know that if they can get the claim up, you have a better chance of being able to pay for it. But I've seen that in the past where roofing companies would try to negotiate that part of your claim for you, but it's based upon a written document granting that authority. But if she hadn't done that, she might want to get a hold of her insurance company and say,
She signed nothing.
Right.
So she called her insurance company, and they said, yep, there's a claim set up. We can't close it. We can put a note in it, but we can't close it. Now, I don't know how they can open a claim with somebody that's not even her or has given them authority to open it, but they can't close it.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, my only explanation is, first of all, I would ask, send an email saying the roof is not authorized, discuss the claim, reclassify the claim as proper. And the other explanation I have to give you is what happens after these hurricanes is a lot of these companies have to labor up real quick. And they hire a lot of inexperienced frontline adjusters who are learning trial by fire. So there's some mistakes. I'm just giving you explanations to why they would do that, but that is and would deviate from the normal procedure, because they should never open up a claim for a third party without that third party authorization. But and also too, there may be some vendors who commonly work with an insurance company on certain claims. They're a preferred vendor, and sometimes maybe they would open claims they maybe should not open because they're a preferred vendor. But that's our only explanation.
Yeah, I mean, this was a salesman for this particular roofing company.
Right. Well, you know what I would do? I would check if they're licensed by the state licensing board for contractors, and I would file a complaint against that roofer for doing that. And and just see where that takes you. You know, because I don't know to what effect it's going to have on her her future underwriting, because now she's got another claim, right? So that gives them the opportunity to maybe not rewrite coverage or make her coverage much more expensive because she's
Well,
got
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, she's been transitioned to another insurance company.
Yeah.
And now there's an
Right.
open claim.
All right.
Exactly.
Well, okay, we got to go. National news, local news. Thanks for the break. We'll see you in about 10 minutes in All Things Legal for hour number 2. Stay tuned. See you in 10.
Home of the Saints and LSU. WWL New Orleans, WWL FM and HD1 Kenner New Orleans, and Odyssey Station.
Is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Capital One Bank.
I'm Sophie Lynn in Washington. Americans are weighing in about the Supreme Court ruling which overturned Roe v. Wade. A new CBS News poll found by more than a 20-point margin, most call it a step backward rather than forward for America. And women, by more than 3-1, think the ruling will make women's lives worse rather than better. Abortion bans in about half the states are expected. So what options do women living in these states have? CBS News legal correspondent Jen Crawford.
Politically, they have several options. They can try to get Congress to pass a law guaranteeing abortion access across the country. Or if they live in a state where abortion is now considered illegal, they're going to have to mobilize, vote, run for office, and try to get the state legislatures to change those laws.
Dr. Marina Catalozzi with Bernard College in New York on what else needs to be done.
We have to make sure that women all over the country, girls, have access to contraception that is covered by their insurance, that they're not shamed for using it and keeping themselves healthy.
Only a few more days to celebrate Pride Month, and in Houston, they held one of the largest events in the country yesterday. Brayson Cup was there and says, considering the political climate right now.
Just to have people to support you, especially through everything that's going on right now.
The biggest Pride parade is in New York City. It kicks off in 2 hours. President Biden has announced CBS's Tom Cody.
From Munich, Germany, where he's attending the first of 2 major international conferences in Europe this week, with the Ukraine war a major agenda item at most, President Biden sent out a tweet previewing action to come from the so-called G7, Western industrialized nations. A new ban on Russian gold imports, part of a new round of sanctions against Vladimir Putin's Russia over his war in Ukraine.
The president has signed into law the most sweeping gun control legislation in decades. Here's CBS's Linda Kenyon.
The new law includes tougher background checks for the youngest gun buyers, and it keeps firearms for more domestic violence offenders. It does not ban assault weapons or some high-capacity magazines.
The heat wave continues. National Weather Service meteorologist Mark Chenard says there are heat advisories out across the southern plains, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, and parts of Alabama. But that's not all.
A little bit different now. You also have heat advisories out on the west coast, so we're seeing low above normal temperatures from portions of Washington into California as well.
The 135th Wimbledon Tennis Championship starts tomorrow at the All England Club in London. Serena Williams is in. It's her first tournament of the year because she's suffering from an ankle injury. This is CBS News.
No fees or minimums and no overdraft fees are another reason banking with Capital One is the easiest decision. What's in your wallet? Capital One NA, member FDIC.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job, not first responders, but to help feed his little sisters? Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? I am the one in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Why at IamHungerInAmerica.org, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Oil keeps going up as the Russia conflict escalates. Help the U.S. with your patriotic investment that can potentially pay you monthly income for up to 20 or more years. If you're an SEC-accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. The U.S. government
needs your investment in oil and is allowing you to write off nearly 100% of your investment in the first year. Call 800-278-7455. 800-278-7455.
WWL First News. I'm Dave Cohen on your official weather station, WWL.
Temperatures are expected to climb into the mid-90s today, and clouds will hang around and we'll see a little bit of sunshine here and there, but expect a partly to mostly cloudy day. Now, as we head into the afternoon hours, scattered showers and thunderstorms are likely.
Your local weather expert, WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan, with your complete forecast coming up. As emotions remain high on both sides of the abortion debate following the overturning of the Roe v. Wade decision at the U.S. Supreme Court, WWL TV's Dennis Woltering reports someone vandalized a display on the West Bank of New Orleans.
A statue at a Catholic church in Algiers was recently vandalized with red paint. It happened at Holy Name of Mary Church to a statue of the Virgin Mary. Next to the statue is a tomb for the unborn. We do not know if this vandalism is directly tied to the banning of nearly all abortions in Louisiana. New Orleans police are investigating.
The red paint, apparently supposed to look like blood, was washed off of the statue memorial. There have also been some protest rallies locally and celebrations as Louisiana now outlaws nearly all abortions, and all of the abortion clinics in the state have closed their doors. More violent crime in the city amid a surge in shootings, murder, carjackings, and armed robberies. The NOPD is investigating gunfire in the St. Roch neighborhood. The 1700 block of Painter Street was the site of a man suffering a gunshot wound to his body. EMS transported the victim to the hospital shortly after midnight. Lafourche Parish Sheriff Craig Weber and Thibodaux Police Chief Brian Zarang say they have arrested a man who was stealing mail in the Thibodaux area. Alan Oubre now faces charges. Security camera footage showed a man cops say is the 36-year-old Oubre riding a bicycle and carrying a backpack near the scene of the incident. Police identified the man as Oubre and say they found stolen mail at his home. They say Oubre admitted to going into several mailboxes looking for items to steal. He was charged with 30 counts of theft or attempted theft. Here's Sean Ross with WWL Sports.
Saints running back Alvin Kamara is expected to be suspended for 6 games for his role in a fight during the Oklahoma weekend in Las Vegas. WWL college and pro football analyst Mike Detillier says the Saints need to upgrade their running back room soon.
They're going to bring in another veteran running back, either as a free agent signing or via a trade. One of the two. They're not going to keep it has to be upgraded.
Kamara's court hearing is scheduled for August 1st. And Ole Miss is just one win away from the College World Series. The Rebels took game one over Oklahoma last night, 10-3, including back-to-back deaths in the 8th. An SEC team has won the College World Series 3 out of the last 4 years. Sean Ross, WWL Sports.
Andrew Garcia Roofing Forecast on WWL.
We're going to develop out to our east, and that is going to bring to our area as we head through the afternoon hours. A few thunderstorms are possible, and they may get quite strong. So continue to remain weather aware throughout the day. As we head into your Monday, mostly temperatures lower 90s, and showers are possible. From your local weather forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
And I'm Dave Cohen, WWL First News.
From WWL, the news talk sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Join us on the Oakland Heart Jewelers talk and text line, 504-260-1870, or connect anytime, anywhere on the Odyssey app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back. We're on until 10 o'clock. Call 260-1870 or text us on the Oakland Heart Talk and Text line at 260-1870. All right. I'm going to be quick with this on college baseball. Just a quick thought. This time last year, LSU was looking for a coach. Ole Miss is one game away from winning the College World Series. I'm pulling for them. The coach who wanted the job was Mike Bianco. LSU turned him down and went to Jay Johnson, which I'm not saying is the wrong decision, but it's just interesting that whether that'll be a discussion or not in the future. I don't like Monday morning quarterbacking, but the guy who wanted the job and would have dropped everything to come here didn't get the job. Now he's in the World Series. And so that's just an interesting factoid. Can't look back, but it is what it is. Second thing, we got on Zion. We're talking a little bit about the extension, and this is, I guess, where people are going to have to put their legal minds together. The key to the Pelicans, with the concession they want from Zion to sign that long-term supermax deal for $170 million, or maybe even more than that, would be, can they get an escape hatch in their contract if Zion is unable to play due to injury? And that's sort of an interesting dynamics, because Zion's going to probably, obviously he wouldn't want that.
Well, of course not. And again, if you look at Anthony Davis, they call him street clothes because he's never on the court. He's always in his street clothes, and he's a great player, but he's injured every season. Every season he's been out for at least 10 games. And so they don't want another Anthony Davis. We're going to pay you all this money, but you're not even going to be in the court. You missed a whole year already, right? And so we don't know what it's going to look like when you come back. And $170 million bankrupts our team for the next 3 years. So 5 years, whatever the number is. So especially if you can't play to the level you're supposed to be playing at. It makes me nervous, I'll be honest with you. I think we talked about this before. Boogie Cousins, he was a force in the NBA until he tore his Achilles. And when you weigh 300 pounds like he did, it's a lot of weight on that little Achilles on the other one, right? So he's still in the NBA. He still got given a few minutes, but he's a shadow of what he used to be as a result of that. You got a guy, Zion, who weighs 300 pounds, playing on a broken foot or repaired foot that he had to stay out of for an entire year. So it's not like 6 weeks left to bone, repair itself injury.
Now, along those lines, or you could say that sometimes the deal you don't make is the best deal you could make. And the deal that the Pelicans did make with Cousins turned out to be a good deal. Now, let's flip it to the NFL indirectly with the Saints. Deshaun Watson. The deal you don't make might be the best deal you can make. And Deshaun, he's going to have a hearing with the NFL as far as the suspension starting Tuesday. And the NFL is pushing for a 1-year suspension in the hearing. That's their position. Could you imagine what a train wreck it's going to be for the Cleveland Browns if Deshaun Watson is suspended for a year, Baker Mayfield quarterbacks this year and takes them to the playoffs? What is going to happen then? I mean, what a train wreck that would be, and that would be the best result for the Cleveland Browns.
If Baker Mayfield stays, he's not showing up.
If he stays, but if there's a 1-year suspension, he may stay. Who knows? But what a bad deal that would have been for the Saints.
If they say that Deshaun Watson
and paid 3 times as much as what Tom Benson paid for, or 3 times as much Tom Benson paid for the darn franchise for this quarterback who's going to have to sit out a year suspended. So again, the deal you don't make may be the best deal you can make. Okay, we got a couple of texts too, and one's sports and one's we'll go back to legal. It says, "Good morning, Doug and good morning, Doug and Albert. A Saints question: most experts are saying the Saints will not make the playoff. It is because the Saints do not have a premier quarterback. What are your thoughts? As a Sunday morning lawyer, what are our thoughts?"
Well, I'm I never been on the Saints or against
Sam
the
on the line from Gretna with an insurance question.
I get pull against myself when I bet sometimes, but listen, it depends on how much Jameis Winston worked in the classroom last year when he was injured. How much was his head in the game? How much was he looking at the iPad? How much was he learning the system and picking up on maturing intellectually as a quarterback? No question about it. The guy has skills. No question about it. He has flashes of greatness. And if he can get to the point where he can be just better than average, I think this team makes the playoffs. They're that good everywhere else. And certainly they have given him a stable of wide receivers to make up for and maybe make some catches that other guys couldn't make to help him and help his confidence. But I think they'll be okay. Now, will they make it far into the playoffs? They got some really good teams out there. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, I think he's matured a lot. I do think he has regular season maturity. You would not know whether he has playoff maturity until you get there, which are two different things. You got a lot of quarterbacks who do well in the regular season, but there's a different level in the playoffs that take a higher level of
Tony Romo. Tony Romo was one. He could bring just didn't have what it took to win those playoff games or enough playoff games.
So we'll see. All right. Let's go to who do we have on the phone, Doug? We got
Sam.
Sam, that's what I thought. We got Sam. Let's go to phone lines with Sam. Hey Sam, what you got for us on all things legal?
Thanks for going to Mr. Sunseri. Surprise, I got an insurance question. That we squeezing around football.
That's right.
I remember a couple of our folks were saying, well, what do y'all like? Something y'all from New Orleans, we're going to talk about our teams. That's what we do. So if doesn't this is the only legal show I could stand to listen to, because I try to listen to get knowledge, because as you know, and I'm not anti-business,
Sam, we're having trouble hearing you. Do you got your radio on? If you could turn your radio down, we're having difficulty hearing you.
No, the radio's off. I got to see it there.
Gotcha.
I have a question. I'm with the I-7. So to speak, without any warning, anything at 7th will be located in Tallahassee.
Right.
My insurance company for the last 12 years, after I escaped Citizen Fair Plan, decided that they're going to dump their liabilities. I've gotten nothing from them except my bill for my quarterly payment coming up in 2 weeks. My insurance agents, while I was out of town, emailed me saying, hey, look, your insurance company is dumping everybody. Let me know if you want me to try to find replacement coverage for you. Now, this poor guy is located in La Paz. So his business and probably most of his clientele is in La Paz. Don't really wrestle with this. Still, now he has 3 weeks to find replacement coverage for all of his customers. Poor guy, hope you drink coffee. Now, my question though.
Sam, let me stop you. If you're on speakerphone, if you could put the phone to your ear, you're just having trouble hearing you. I want to answer your question, and I can't hear it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, I'm not on speaker. Like I said, it's my phone service. Okay. But anyway, I tried to file a complaint with the insurance commissioner, right? I get a form letter within 2 hours saying, well, your insurance company is no longer in existence, and we can't accept the complaint. Now, I checked with my agent and said, no, their operations until July 15th. The insurance commissioner won't even accept the claim because they're trying to tell me that's no longer an insurance company. Now, what I'm scared to death about is that my poor agent has 3 weeks to get coverage for everybody from Gretna to La Paz, and I'm worried about getting stuck with Citizens Fair Plan, who stiffed me on my Katrina coverage 17 years ago. Cost me $185,000, and two extra loans to the SBA to rebuild my house to get it up to the value so I could sell it. They basically citizens and cutting out on me held my property hostage for the last 15 years. Now, what I'm wondering about is what's this law about in 3 years of a claim, they can't cancel you? Because obviously the law means nothing to Jim Donelon or these insurance companies.
So what they can do, if you've been with them for 3 years, then they can't cancel you because of a hurricane type claim. They can cancel you because of you have too many individual claims, but they can't cancel you. They have to cancel all of that coverage across the board or across the region. So what it sounds like to me is your insurance company is discontinuing the writing of business in Louisiana. As a result, you're up in that, you're no longer going to have coverage with that. And you could have been there for, same thing with State Farm pulls out. People have been with State Farm for 30, 40, 50 years sometimes. So, but if they pull out and stop writing that coverage, then you got to go find someone else. I just got a text from a friend. He said he's been renewed. His coverage went from 3,000 to 7,000. So it was like double the increase, and so it's going to be one of these things where people are going to have to self-insure for wind claims and hurricane claims, and have their liability and fire and extended coverage, but not wind or hurricanes.
Because that was brought up with the possibility of the young lady who does secondary for travelers. And this list of insurance companies that write in Louisiana, I went to the insurance commissioner's website. Something that's not accurate either. You got to get a phone call back. One young lady suggested that, we could place you, but there would have to be an exclusion for wind. Now, thanks to an excellent local roofing company recommended to me by Eric White, I have a 20-year guarantee labor and material warranty. So I think for my roof, Owens Corning is my insurance company. Now, getting back to the original problem, so when they dump everybody, they escape that 3-year clause then, right?
Well, if you had Southern Fidelity, they're in receivership. They're in liquidation. What happens is Southern Fidelity doesn't exist anymore. And any of the pending claims are assumed by Louisiana Insurance Guarantee Association, which is an association that is paid into by admitted insurers to guarantee loans of companies that go into receivership. So basically, Southern Fidelity doesn't exist anymore, and for all practical purposes. And so that 3-year.
Last question. I want to touch your whole hour because you have other people with worse problems than mine. Now, as far as my supplements for what's lingering damage-wise, do I file that with Southern Fidelity or with LIGA? Or
with LIGA.
Who do I file that with?
With LIGA.
LIGA. Okay. And also these adjusters that advertise a lot on the radio station. I heard y'all touch on that because I didn't think it affected my situation until last Monday, right? And you mentioned that, actually, if they have to wrestle with the insurance company, then you supplement that I have to file with LIGA. Should I try to just get those estimates and seek out a lawyer, or do I try one of these public adjuster services that advertise what you all?
I tell you what,
I'm going to go to a break, and on the other side of the break, I'll have Albert address claims adjuster, claims, LIGA, claims adjuster claims with your insurance company is still in existence. And I think Albert decided to where to go next.
If you want to hold us,
thank you for the call, Sam.
Terry Albert, you Weekend Lawyers. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
Lots of debate right now about what conservatives stand for. To me, it's simple. Family, free enterprise, less government. Yes, I'm a true conservative who stands on the principles our nation was built on. But I've never hesitated to reach across the aisle for the good of our community. I've said it 1,000 times.
Okay, I have a friend of Albert's on, Casey from Covington. He has a few comments.
It's a safe place to live, work, and raise your family.
Leaders, Joel Norman, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. weekdays on WWL. Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes?
Oakland Heart is the last spot in this break. It's a short one.
800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems. And if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
We're all on this planet together. So join Odyssey and find your one. Don't buy plastic toys for your pet. Instead, look for natural materials like cotton, rope, wood, or bamboo. Join Odyssey, and together each of us doing one thing to make it greener tomorrow. Let's go.
What is it that makes people do the things they do? To come back stronger as a triathlete and mom of triplets, after orthopedic surgeons at Oshner repaired Katie's training ACL to get Shane back to the music he loves, after our Oshner cancer experts used ultrasound to eliminate his prostate cancer. Whatever your reasons are for doing the things you do, we've only got one. You. Oshner Health. Long live you. Learn more at oshner.org/longliveyou.
Remember the
Here we
classic
go.
jingle, "There's a great work of art in every box from Oakland Heart"? It's still true. It's why Gambit readers once again voted us best local jeweler. Celebrate the best thing that ever happened to you with a gift from the city's best local jeweler, Oakland Heart on Metairie Road.
All things legal on WWL. Consult with Nicaud and Sunseri now on the Oakland Heart Jewelers Talk and Text line. 504-260-1870. And don't forget to rewind on the Odyssey app.
Hey, we're back. That's
We're back. Albert Nicaud, your weekend wars, all things legal.
Sam. He had a question for Albert as far as what can a public adjuster do now? Can a public adjuster help you if you have a claim against LIGA because your insurance company went into receivership? And on top of that, a public adjuster help you now with your regular insurance? Albert?
Well, at this point, I think probably been saying
it's been 10 months since the storm. If you've not gotten your claim settled by now, not sure how much a public adjuster is going to do for you. Listen, there are many good ones out there. There are companies that do things properly. There are other companies run across a number of them where they're scam artists. They write this estimate. They charge 10% of their claim in, write a contract where they say, oh, it's really not 10%, but it ends up being 10% of what they write, not 10% of claim is. If you got $50,000 and you claim $100,000, they want $15,000 to write that estimate. And they percentage of the money you've already collected. And then it gets to the point where the adjuster denies their $150,000 claim summary. They want to turn you over to an attorney from Florida or from Galveston that's going to charge you costs, right? And we all charge costs, but they're going to charge their costs. Yeah, they got to cut the case and take a deposition here in New Orleans. They're going to go stay at downtown hotel and charge you $500 a night plus travel, et cetera, to come out of your portion of the plane. So be very careful about all that. Hire someone local. Hire an attorney at this point. We have our own adjusters that work not just for us, but we contract with. Their fees are substantially less. They do a great job, all in Xmate format. They've adjusted, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of claims just for this storm, and many, many more prior to this. So we're experienced. We have engineers. We have, just a team of people that work on our behalf to help you maximize your claim. And at this point, you need an enforcement mechanism. You need to know that, hey, look, you're not looking at my case. You're ignoring me. What's going to make somebody put this claim at the litigation? And all of a sudden, litigation adjuster and an attorney who's then going to case to case. Hey, gee, you should have paid this.
And just me personally, in the last 3 weeks, I think we've had 10 mediations through the case management order requirements for state court. And a couple of federal judges have requirements that you go to immediate settlement conferences. And we've settled 10, and these were all claims where the insurance company denied any further payment.
Right.
They drew the and a lot of these settlements were very good. The clients were, I don't want to say happy. They were not happy that they had to go through this to get what they thought they were entitled to, but they were happy that at some point they felt like they received an offer that was fair. But a lot of the, once we got in front of federal magistrates, we got in front of special masters, the claims adjuster was engaged. The special masters and the mediators sort of told the insurance companies or the adjusters who are in charge of the purse strings that this is where you're vulnerable at, be it in a bad faith, in a bad faith posture, or a lot of the claims that they denied is probably very vulnerable. And they took another look at it and they settled. So I think probably, and I'm going to say this, probably over 90% of your claims will settle in litigation, early mediation, based on how it's set up. And so, but they would not have looked at it in absence of litigation. And, so.
Correct. And listen, they're going to pay these things on the cheap, or they want to drag them out as long as they can drag them out. We want another round of premiums. We want to, restock our reserves. We want to, extend this as long as we can, because if we're holding millions and millions of dollars, policyholders' money, we're making money on that one. So we're now able to, hold this for as long as we can and keep you going. The only person that can move that faster is an attorney. Grant, do you need your damages assessed? Absolutely, but you don't need to be paying 10% of your damages to your estimator. And I just think a little outrageous. And not only 10% on new money, but the money you've already collected. Crazy.
Probably
yeah.
Anyway. All right.
I think we have a caller on the line. Thanks for the call, Sam, from before the break. We got Casey from Covington.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Hey, Casey, and All Things Legal. What you here for, brother?
Hey guys, this is the Casey y'all know from way back when.
Hey, Casey, how are you?
I was doing some legal research the other day, and I just stumbled upon the Benson case on interdiction, and it made me wonder, and you guys would be the ones to know. And I don't wish Miss Gale anything bad, but we know who's going to inherit the estate when that sad day comes around.
It's going to go to a trust for the benefit of the city of New Orleans. It's going to be managed. And it's basically going to all go to charity or for the benefit of the area to a foundation. Is basically my understanding.
I thought the NFL had a rule that said you had to have 50% plus one of a match.
They would sell the Saints.
To be the owner. Okay.
So you would have a new owner. In other words, basically the Saints would be my understanding. It would not be maintained under the trust. And that money would be used for the benefit of projects to be determined by trustees of this foundation.
Okay. All right.
You would have an owner.
All right. Just Sunday morning coffee, listening to you guys.
All right, Casey.
one of the things, I'll give you a little history on this. When in 1985, John Meekum had the opportunity to move to Jacksonville, and before he made the infamous lines to say, "Take the call of the car dealer," where the Saints he would maintain 50% of the ownership of the Saints, but get an infusion of maybe $40, $50 million. And his business advisors say, "Take it, it's a good deal." But John could not do that to the city of New Orleans. He did have heart, and thank God he did, because it would be the Jacksonville Saints right now. One of the big fears early on is if Mr. Benson, from an estate perspective, had passed in the 90s or early 2000s, his estate would not have enough money to pay the death taxes. And at that time, he was having somewhat of a frayed relationship with the state of Louisiana. And at the time, they had the Los Angeles and Toronto who wanted a team, who was thinking if something happened to Mr. Benson, or in fact, he even fielded some offers from Toronto in 2005 because he was frustrated with the governor at that particular time. So he started moving some of his Saint stock out of his estate into a trust for his children and grandchildren, so that when he did pass, it would be less of a federal death tax, so the Saints could be maintained in New Orleans. Because when Joe Robbie died, the Miami Dolphins had to be sold to pay the death tax. When Walter O'Malley died with the Los Angeles Dodgers, when he owned that, the O'Malley family had to sell the Saints. So basically, over the last 30 years, Mr. Benson did do an estate plan so that when he died, the ownership would vest in his family, which was Gail in this case, and the Saints would stay. Because there's a lot of people who would have wanted to watch the Saints out of New Orleans. So that's just sort of the background on that. And thank God it worked out this way. It looks like the Saints are going to be here long term. And there's two people who are responsible for that, John Meekum and Tom Benson. There you go.
Yeah.
And Dave Dixon.
Dave Dixon. If it wasn't for Dave Dixon, there would be no New Orleans Saints.
Yes. Dave Dixon wanted to move to Antonio.
And Dave Dixon went to see Tagliabue and said, "That ain't happening after Katrina." And
Tagliabue agreed and got all the
to agree.
And if you really want to get down to it, thank you, Hale Boggs and Senator Long, because he strong-armed Pete Rozelle by threatening to take off the antitrust exemption. They didn't have to.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to break. All things legal.
WWL wants to send you on a rock and roll 4th of July weekend. Win tickets to see Poison in concert, plus a 2-day stay for world-class Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. You'll also get $250 in play money for the casino, a $100 gas gift card for your road trip, and dinner for two at the award-winning steakhouse, Philip M's. Register now at WWL.com. It'll be nothing but a good time with Poison from Pearl River Resort and WWL.
Individual rates, coverage offerings, and savings may vary, subject to terms and conditions. Not available in all areas. Small businesses are the backbone of America. When it comes to workers' comp insurance, you barely get the savings you deserve. That's because insurance companies tend to lump you in with other businesses, and you can get overcharged. At Pi Insurance, we're on a mission to change that. With Pi, you get a quote specific to your business, and you can save up to 30% with no hassle and no hidden fees. If you like savings, take 3 minutes to see how much you could save at trypi.com. Pi makes workers' comp insurance as easy as pie, with friendly representatives just a call away. No wonder customers rate our service excellent on Trustpilot. You work hard to build your business and keep your employees safe. You deserve more from your workers' comp provider. See how much you can
Okay, I got Jimmy on the phone from
Ask
Gretna.
your agent for Pi or get a
He has commented on the Saints and another subject.
trypi.com.
having to do with insurance.
WL wants to send you on a rock and roll 4th of July weekend. Win tickets to see Poison in concert, plus a 2-day stay at the world-class Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. You'll also get $250 in free money for the casino, a $100 gas gift card for your road trip, and dinner for two at the award-winning steakhouse Philip M's. Register now at WWL.com. It'll be nothing but a good time with Poison from Pearl River Resort and WWL. If you have Medicare, you deserve the best care and coverage available. But how do you know if your Medicare plan offers the quality you need? Check their Medicare star rating. The higher the stars, the better the quality. And People's Health has earned Medicare's highest rating, 5 out of 5 stars for 2022. Don't take my word for it. Take Medicare's. To learn more about People's Health Medicare plans, call 1-855-821-2666 or visit peopleshealth.com.
Community coffee is more than a flavor. It's a centuries-old culture, an obsession fueled with family traditions and rituals that we hope will continue to support those who make our communities thrive.
People get Odyssey, and it looks like a podcast commercial at the end here.
Offices in Baton Rouge.
Call 475-2323.
Hey, slide down. We want your stuff. DependableStorage.com.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Welder Financial Group, and I'm the Steel-Matic Timeshare Company. For over a decade, I've been fighting to clean up the timeshare industry by getting folks out of bad timeshares. But after all those battles, I'm still asking, how do they sell timeshares for $25,000 when they're available online for only $1? Here's how they do it. They lie. They tell you things like, timeshare is a great investment. You can go anywhere, anytime, or your maintenance fees will never go up. Everything they do to get you to sign a timeshare agreement is part of a well-planned trap. If you've ever been held hostage in a timeshare presentation and bought, Wesley Financial Group is here to help.
Yeah, we have Jimmy
for over 30,000 families. And I guarantee you this, you'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare cancellation guide. 800-660-1771. That's 800-660-1771. 800-660-1771.
We were trying to come up with a title for this podcast. Let's have a shorter.
We're going live after this one.
Kind of speaks to you, and my wife Gretchen says about "Hey Maine, hey Maine, hey Maine." So I gave in, just like I gave in when she wanted a cat. But I get to keep my subtitle, the Kenny Mayne Talks to Famous People podcast. So, hey Maine, the Kenny Mayne Talks to Famous People podcast. Get that wherever you get. I think that's the tagline.
The Odyssey app. With Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. That's Albert Nicaud, your weekend
Things legal.
Brett is a home of
Right. Looks like some rain. Yeah, you got it right. And there's some rain too, man. It's starting to rain. It looks like 10 days of rain, the radar's saying. So,
right.
Yeah, no, that's interesting what y'all are saying about the Saints. Somebody needs to marry Gail Benson, or it's too late for her to have a kid. But, yeah, you know, I think the Saints are going to stay in New Orleans, maybe some New York, some other outside forces team. The Pelicans, you know, obviously on paper they're looking good long term with this current roster. But they're kind of a year-to-year deal. We've been known to lose franchise battle on AB, Buccaneers, and almost lost Hornets too. So, yeah, that's interesting stuff. Somebody's got to marry Gale and keep the team here. Somebody local, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe check out, Harmony or something.
Yeah, well, listen, I was talking about the insurance and how everybody's upset. People are getting dropped. According to my insurance guy, he's like, look, you're lucky because my insurance went up $900 and my house isn't that big. I kind of feel like I'm paying almost $3,000 a year on a house that's probably worth about $210. So it's like, oh man. Then again, they're telling me, well, it could be worse. You can have insurance. But like you said, I've had it over 3 years.
And at the same time, Doug, it's like the coverage hasn't been great. The one claim I put in, they basically, shunned me, and I've had to get the ball rolling on litigation against them. But again, it could be worse. I didn't lose my whole house, and everybody's on the edge of hurricane season. Everything's rising costs. It seems to me like they're doing a good job of changing the way we live on the coastline of Louisiana. With flood insurance, with the FEMA 2.0 and I want you to put a trailer on 13 feet in the air. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's going to catch more wind going that high. So what elderly person or young family wants to deal with that? So, Lake Charles to Venice, I think the quote-unquote Cajun way of life, fishing, shrimping, living near the coast, all that kind of stuff, it's going to be very expensive to the point where people are going to have to relocate to survive. Because of the cost of living. Or, if you had your stuff paid off, I guess you could just play Russian roulette with it, right? And get that as you go.
Well, I will tell you this. I know for Grand Island, there were 4 homes that were relatively unscathed after this storm, and they were all built under the new Dade County code requirements for coastal construction. And they were built high enough off the ground. They were strapped. They had various load paths that were required. The roof was installed properly with reinforced shingles and proper nailing. All of these things have been studied over and over and over again. And so I have a by the Wrigley's at Lake Catherine. And, it used to be these camps were 6 feet off the ground just in case some water rose, but they weren't built for hurricane. And so that area got pretty devastated as well after Katrina. So they learned a lot of things. And now the parish and the codes that they've adopted won't allow you to build something that is not going to withstand pretty substantial storms, and it's going to be up high enough. I mean, we're 21 feet up in the air, but it's going to be high enough to sustain a high storm surge because we're outside the levee protection. So there's a way to do it. That seems to be working. So to your point, it's going to be expensive to build it and get it there, but at the same time, it's going to protect your investment. To spend a little money now and not have to have it go away and deal with the insurance company and the deductible and the short pricing they're giving you for things, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, did you say that was Dade County protocols or something like that? Dade from Florida area?
Yeah, when Florida got
Yeah, well, not to cut you off, what's interesting, this is my take on that. I know Hurricane Andrew hit Miami pretty good in the early 90s and then came around this neck of the woods. But, when a storm hits Miami or Dade County, it's over a lot of colder water in the Atlantic. It doesn't have, and if it does get in some warmer waters, it doesn't have a long time. Here, if we get a storm in August or September, it may have 2 or 3 days over some really warm water. That's why, it's, but yeah, they have probably more stringent rules, and to me, they probably deal with less powerful storms. Now, they do deal with a lot of them, but I think because of that cold water and that shear in the Atlantic, I think it's but yeah, I just see, look, I have roots in Plaquemines Parish since Katrina. They've done a lot of things to frustrate people out, whether it be the homeowners insurance prices or the FEMA 2.0 protocols, or now they're doing this diversion project. They want to push all this fresh water in, and it's like corporations want all that land for themselves, or the ports or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they want too many citizens down there. But anyway, y'all have a good day.
Yeah, in response to that real quick, they are trying the freshwater diversions, and I think when you get that close to the coast, you need to be a coast residence where you are off the ground, where you're expecting it to hit, expecting it to happen. We need to rebuild our coastline. That is the main problem with why we're getting it so bad in the cities now, is because we're losing a football field a year of coastline. And so it's gotten to the point where we don't have enough coastline to knock those hurricanes down to where they're manageable. And the flooding and the storm surge and everything else used to be absorbed by miles and miles of coastline that we no longer have. And I think the only answer is to redirect the river and Carnarvon and those different projects that they have, and let that area build back up with the silt and grow grass and trees and things that all used to be down there to help protect further and further in. But it's a big issue. Look, I'm a sportsman, a sports fisherman. I love to go fishing. I love raw oysters, and those industries may be affected to some degree, or to a degree. But you got to weigh what's more important for our economy and what's more important for our way of life, where the area is most populous, and that's in the major cities. So anyway.
All right.
How about we take our last break?
Let's go to our final break. Doug Sunseri, I'm going to you Weekend Lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
WWL is proudly sponsored by Dudley DeVoe, your injury lawyer. Call 504-444-4444. Non-attorney spokesperson, Chad Dudley, New Orleans.
We're feeling a little nostalgic. Remember the classic jingle, "There's a great work of art in every box from Oakwood Heart"? It's still true, It's why Gambit readers once again voted us best local jeweler. And it's why you have to shop Oakwood Heart. Just listen to this online review from Josh. Oakwood Heart is...
Okay, looks like about 6 minutes to fill before the top of the hour end of the show.
Rocks. Pun intended. New Orleans is all about keeping it
I have no one on the line.
In our culture, being local and honest still counts for something. So does offering finer jewelry at better prices. Shocking, but true. Here in our Murray showroom, we create an enormous selection of beautiful jewelry in every price range for engagements and every one of life's special moments. And don't forget Just Because. We're very big on Just Because. Celebrate the best thing that ever happened to you with a gift from the city's best local jeweler, Oakwood Heart on Metairie Road.
If you or a loved one are suffering from addiction, listen to Springfield Wellness Center's founder, Paula Norris Metier.
They are very frightened. They are full of shame. They feel angry in some cases. Almost every person who comes here to be detoxed enters this room just like that. They really don't think that this can work. They're as skeptical as anybody else. I know how they're feeling. I can tell them that we have treated so many people that felt just like they do right then. And that if they will trust just enough to let us get at least 4 or 5 days of the IV into their system, their life will change dramatically for the better.
Put your addiction behind you. Call Springfield Wellness Center at 504-291-4000.
Just call us. That's all. And we'll be waiting for you.
504-291-4000. Springfield Wellness Center.
Hi, this is John from the Silver Slipper, and I just want to tell you about a very special promotion we're doing here. Now, when you play here at the Slipper any day in April, May, and June, you'll be earning entries to win a Shark Ion Robot Vacuum that evening at 7 p.m. That's right, we're giving away a Shark Robot Vacuum every night for 3 months. So come on down to the Slipper and earn your chance to win. We're on the beach here in Hancock County, Silver Slipper Casino. We are proud to be your host on the coast.
Have a good time at the Silver Slipper.
Jenny King, the king of clean.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify.
You got a short one after this and we'll go live.
But call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-256-4100 4180. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-256-4180 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-256-4180 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-256-4180.
We're all on this planet together. So join Odyssey and find your one thing. Cut up six-pack rings and reduce your use of plastic to help keep it out of our waterways and oceans. Join Odyssey, and together each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Now, more All Things Legal, underwritten by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinions shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
Hey, we're back. We got 5 minutes.
Albert, we have a bunch of checks. But if we can't get to you checks, give us a call at 504-837-1304.
504-837-1304. Lightning round.
95-6249-697 on the North Shore.
Let me see if I can get Good morning, Albert and Doug. I have a Hurricane Ida question. I live in a garden home development where the homes are 5 feet apart. When my neighbor evacuated, they put the items on the patio in their garage. When I came out the house 2 days after the storm, their grill and other items had gone from the back of their house to the front. I have damage on the side of the house. I have damage on the side of the house, 2 cracked windows, and 3 torn window screens. They have damage caused. They have no damage caused. They had no windows on their side. They saw my damage but didn't say anything. I can't prove they are responsible. I have to pay for these repairs as well as others myself because of the I plan on asking them to be better prepared for the next storm. But other than that, is there anything I can do? I think the issue there you go.
That's a simple answer.
Speculation.
We want proof, right? And if you can't prove your case, then you don't really have a claim. You can perhaps talk to them and say, "Hey, look, guys, here's what happened. You guys didn't secure your stuff, and it banged all up against my windows. Can you want to help me out? Or you want to just kind of have a good relationship with them like you had and just ask them, hey, can you secure it properly next time because it's banging my house up."
Gotcha.
Next.
Well, the next one is about a 6. I'm reading it. It's about a 6-minute answer. So we're going to pass on that. I have a football question. Are you surprised that Arch Manning picked Texas to go?
Not a bit.
Not a bit. I think they talked about $3.5 million. So in NIL that might be heading his way.
Look, if anybody was hopeful that he would choose LSU, forget about it. The Mannings have had nothing to do with LSU since Archie played at Ole Miss. So that was never a consideration. I'm guessing, especially with the coaching changes and all that sort of thing. There's more exposure, more everything in Texas, especially if they become part of the SEC at some point. So I don't think it's a bad decision, and I think it's an expected decision.
Well, I think Archie always encouraged his kids to blaze their own trail. I think that was passed down to little Arch, and I think Texas is probably a good, from a commerce perspective, thriving. He would be, to be like the king of Texas is much like being the king of a small country. So,
no state sales taxes.
And that's right. Well, it's very interesting.
No state income tax.
When Dwight Howard,
think about that.
Well, right. When Dwight Howard, years ago, when he was trying to choose between the LA Lakers and the Houston Rockets, and he actually had a little preference to go to the Lakers, but he chose the Rockets because he would have saved almost $30 million because he wouldn't have to pay the 15% state tax in
state income tax.
Where there was no income tax in Texas. So
Yep.
that eliminates the People's Republic of California in those type of situations. And so I think he'll do good. I'll give a shout out to my friend, Arch's grandfather, Charlie Heidensfelter, which is your client Joe's younger brother.
Right.
Dr. Charlie. Right. Yes. So, and I have to thank Mr. Joe. He taught me a lot of skills as a young man that helped me in commerce. To be a young entrepreneur. So, Mr. Joe, thank you. Or Mr. Harold, thank you for that. So, I have to say this about Mr. Charlie. Our daughter used to play against Mr. Charlie's granddaughter in volleyball. And, he might like to bet every once in a while. He wanted to bet on the over-under on kills for our grandchildren. And his grandchild is my child. And I told Mr. Charlie, I said, Dr. Heidensfelter, I said, that's where I draw the line. I don't bet on my kids in athletic events. So congratulations. I think this is a great choice. I wish he would go to LSU, but I understand why. All right, Albert. In closing.
No, that's all. Just stay out the heat, and look, it's time to get a lawyer involved in your case. Get a local lawyer, whether it be us or some other law firm. Check to see a lot of these come in to carpet bag, and they're not familiar with the local court systems, with the federal court systems in Louisiana. You'll be doing yourself a service by hiring someone local to handle your claim, and I think half the time for the adjusters, it's time to move forward with your claim. Go ahead, going to pay it or not pay it. If they don't get it into litigation, the lawyers sometimes can get it resolved pretty quickly, especially through the judicial.
We'll see you next week on All Things Legal. Have a great week.